Hello everyone and welcome back to the third part of the serialization tutorial. The first part was where we introduced it, the second part is where we created all the data class. So this one we're going to go ahead and create a test. So I created a test script. It's just going to inherit from model behavior. It's the basic setup for when you create a class. And then I went ahead and created a object called test that I'm going to put test onto now. Okay, so let's load up this file, or open it, whatever the case. We're going to go ahead and create a few things. So first off, I want to go ahead and do private void awake, and we are going to have a list of item data. Call it m items. We're going to say m items equals new. We're going to add a few things to it. We're going to go ahead and say m items add new armor data. Go ahead and give it a name, armor test. Give it a cost. We'll say 100, and then defense is 27.0. Looks good. Okay. And copy that 2 more times. This is just going to be a brief example. So weapon, we're going to call it weapon test. Say 72 is the cost, and it's going to do only 17 damage. This one does defense, this one does damage. Then we're going to create an item data, which is not going to be able to do that. So we'll say this cost 1, and we'll say coin. Okay. So we are going to need a way to save this and load this. So we're going to have a save list method, and then load. We'll actually say if load list does not equal, okay, so load list. So if you can't load the list, then we're going to say m items equals new list. Okay, so I'm actually going to change the way that I have this set up. We're going to put this up here. Then I'm going to create that method and then create that method. Okay, so to save the list, we are going to need a file path. So let's go ahead and create a static one up here to save it to. So private static read only string file path equals path, which we're going to say using system.io, combine application.streaming assets path combined with whatever we want the name of this file to be, which we'll say test.json. Okay. So to do this, we need to say if m items does not equal null. Then we're going to say using file stream equals new file stream. We're going to say file path, file mode, which is going to be create, and then file access, which is going to be write. Alright, go and put your brackets. The reason we use using here is so we don't have to close the stream. It'll close the stream automatically once it's done using it. We're going to have another using statement, and this is going to be a stream writer, which we'll call writer equals new stream writer from stream. So it has all the access and file modes that the stream does. Alright, so now we need to get a string to write to. So I'm going to say string JSON string equals JSON convert. Is it JSON convert? Yeah. Dot serialize object. And then it's going to require the object, which we're going to say is m items. Alright, So we have the JSON string because it serializes the items into a string. Then we're going to say writer.write. And we're just going to pass in the JSON string. Alright, so that's the save. The load's pretty much the same thing. So we're going to go ahead and say if file.exist file path return false, and I'm going to change that because it's actually if file does not exist, return false. Then I'm going to, which should be the only reason you couldn't load the list is if the file doesn't exist. Technically if it's null as well, but we'll get to that later. Alright, so this needs to be open, or read I mean, this one needs to be open. Because if it exists, then we're able to open it at that file path. This is going to be stream reader. Change that to reader. Change that to new stream reader. Alright, then the JSON string is going to be deserialize object to the generic. So we're going to do the generic method to cast it to a type list of item data. Oops. And that is actually going to be down here. Here we're going to say reader.read to end. So we're going to get the entire file. Now here we're going to say m items equals, there we go, and from JSON string. Have that backwards. Alright, so we get the JSON string by reading the entire file and then putting it, or then deserializing that JSON string to items. And then we're going to return true. Okay, that all looks good. So that should work. Basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to try to load the list. If we can't load the list, then that means we need to create a new list because the list doesn't exist. Then we're going to add items to it, and then we're going to save the list off. So let's go ahead and do that. We can go ahead and click this. Okay, what does that say? Okay, we can't do that here. So what we're actually going to do is, I forgot mono behavior doesn't allow this. I usually create a utility class that allows us to do that easier, but we'll go ahead and put that in the awake function. That won't be an issue. Alright. Alright, let's get rid of that read only. It's all being dumb. It's actually extremely smart. That was my bad. Alright, so this should work now. Okay, looks like it did. So let's go ahead and click on streaming assets and click refresh. It'll pop up with a test.json. However you open this up, any text editor will work. I use brackets only because that's what I had at the time. Give it a sec. It looks like it was something before. So if we zoom in, so we have defense is 27, name is armor test, and cost is 100. We have weapon test in there and coin as well. So that is the entire thing. So let's go ahead and try to load it up. And if we're doing this the way that I think it should, it should load them up, but upon loading them, it's going to load them as item data and then save them off. So once we click stop here, we should have 6 items, 4 of which are all items because of the original 3 and then the other item that we had in there before. So it should have got rid of all of the extra properties. We'll go ahead and take a look though. Okay, look at that. The armor test now only has name and cost. The weapon test only has name and cost. The coin has name and cost. And then you have this new armor test with defense, this new weapon test with damage, and then this item with name and cost. So what that's telling me is that the original 3 upon deserialization were converted to item data and then saved back out as item data, which is exactly what we expected because there isn't a converter. So I'll go ahead and see you in the next video to determine how we can fix this.